in this part. The flash drive held a secret so dangerous that people were willing to kill for it. At first, everyone thought this was just about a cruel doctor and a humiliated patient. But the encrypted files Martha left behind revealed something far more terrifying. Something that could shake the very foundation of the medical system. They called it Project Nightfall. And once Elena discovered what it really meant, there was no turning back. Please comment where you are watching us from and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification. Elena sat trembling at her desk, staring at the words on her phone. The password is the name of the one he failed first. Her mind raced. Who was the first? She dug through old news clippings, old hospital records, anything tied to Dr. Collins. That's when she found a tiny obituary barely a paragraph long about a boy named Adrian Cole, age 9. The cause of death was listed as respiratory failure. But whispers in the comments beneath the article told another story. He had been refused treatment after his mother couldn't pay the upfront fee. Hands shaking, Elena typed in the name Adrian Cole. The files unlocked instantly. Inside were dozens of patient reports, each stamped with a strange black insignia, an eclipse symbol. They weren't ordinary files. They contained financial data, psychological assessments, and most disturbingly charts ranking patients' social value. Elena gasped. This wasn't just neglect. It was a selection. The program, Project Nightfall, had been quietly running inside the hospital for nearly 3 years. Patients deemed low value, the poor, the elderly. The disabled were marked as expendable. Treatment was either delayed, denied, or billed beyond reach, pushing them toward death. And Dr. Collins? He wasn't just a cruel man. He was one of the program's enforcers. Elena immediately called a journalist. Together, they pored over files in horror. But before they could take the evidence to the police, the journalist's office was broken into. The computers were wiped. The USB drive vanished. Only one thing saved them. Elena had secretly copied the files to her phone. But that night, as she walked home, headlights flared behind her. A black SUV slowed down, creeping just inches from the sidewalk. Its tinted windows lowered slightly and a man's voice hissed, "Stop, or Daniel will pay the price." The SUV sped off, leaving her frozen in terror. Now Elena understood this wasn't about one doctor. It was a network, a system, and Project Nightfall wasn't confined to just one hospital. Martha had been silenced for trying to expose it. Now, Elena was next on their list. She began recording everything, storing files in secret online vaults, and reaching out to underground activists who specialized in medical corruption. That's when she got a chilling message from an anonymous contact. "You think you know what Nightfall is? What you saw was only phase 1. Attached was a blurred photograph. At first, Elena couldn't make out what it showed, but then her heart stopped. It was Daniel, lying in a hospital bed, with the Nightfall insignia stamped on his chart. Elena's worst fear had come true. Her little brother, the boy she had fought so hard to protect, was now trapped inside the very system that had marked him expendable. And as she stared at the photo, her phone buzzed one last time with a message that made her blood run cold. If you wanted to live, come alone. Midnight, the place where it all began. The lot was eerily silent, the kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound like thunder. Then, headlights flared. A sleek black car pulled up, and from it stepped Dr. Collins himself, as calm, composed, almost smug. "I warned you to stop digging, Elena," he said, his voice like ice. "But maybe this is better. You want answers? I'll give you answers. Follow me." Against every instinct screaming at her to run, Elena followed, because if Daniel's life was at stake, she had no choice. Collins led her through a side entrance of the hospital. Not the glowing halls patients saw, but the forgotten lower levels, where flickering lights revealed cold concrete walls. Security cameras followed their every move. At the end of the corridor, he opened a heavy steel door. Inside was a room filled with filing cabinets, locked computers, and screens displaying patient statistics. On one monitor, Elena saw Daniel's chart flashing red. "You see, Elena," Collins whispered, "Nightfall isn't about cruelty. It's about survival. Resources are limited. We choose who gets to live and who doesn't." Her stomach twisted. "You're playing God," she spat. Collins only smiled. "No, we're ensuring the strong survive. You should be proud. Your brother was chosen for Phase 2. Collins handed her a tablet. On it was a document marked, "Nightfall, Phase 2, Human Trials." It wasn't just about refusing treatment. It was about using patients as test subjects, experimental drugs, risky procedures. Patients labeled expendable weren't just left to die. They were being experimented on in the shadows of trusted hospitals. Elena's blood ran cold as she saw Daniel's name listed among the next candidates. "If you want him to live," Collins said, "you'll keep your mouth shut. Walk away. Pretend you never saw this." But before Elena could answer, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. A voice on the intercom barked. "Unauthorized breach detected. Secure Nightfall assets immediately." Collins cursed under his breath, grabbing Elena's arm. "They know you're here. Do you understand? You've already gone too far." Armed guards stormed the hallway. Elena ripped free, darting into the darkness as Collins shouted after her. She sprinted through corridors, ducking behind carts and broken doors, until she found a stairwell. On the wall, spray painted in red, she saw a symbol, the same Eclipse insignia. Beneath it, words that made her stop in her tracks. "They're watching more than patients." Elena finally burst into a locked ward, panting, desperate. And there, through a small observation window, she saw Daniel, strapped to a hospital bed, wires running from his arms to machines she didn't recognize. His eyes fluttered open, weak but alive. But then she noticed something else. He wasn't alone. In the beds around him were dozens of other patients, all hooked up, all marked with the Nightfall insignia. And one of them her breath caught was Martha Jensen, the nurse who had vanished. Before Elena could process what she was seeing, a voice crackled from the hospital intercom, cold and commanding. "Lock down the ward. The experiment begins now." Backhand index pointing right. What happens to Daniel, to Martha, and to Elena herself will all be revealed in Part 3. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.